Monday, June the 22nd, 2020. Longest day has passed, unfortunately, but we do have this week with long evenings. However, generally speaking, it's a slippery slope towards darkness now. Bad news, always is. And of course the vegetation starts browning and the countryside gets a bit boring as birdsong declines as well. Anyway, we're kicking off today, around about 12:15 it is, with a walk a bit longer than the others I've done, increasing the distance now. The walk today is around 11.25 miles, and it's one of the Ramblers, North Herts Ramblers ones again. This one being the Three Pelhams. This is Furneux Pelham Village Hall, and I will be passing through Brent Pelham and Stocking Pelham, where I hope to have my respite. So, got a cracking day. Low 20s, high teens, bit of a breeze, lovely. Bit of wispy cloud up there, but generally speaking, good walking weather. Should be done by around 5:15 I reckon. So let's get cracking. I'm actually stood in the car park of the village hall. I guess this walk GPX originally started either here or in the pub next door. Unsure, but it doesn't matter. 50 yards down the road on the left, you come to the brewery tap, which is like many pubs now, starting to do takeaways. Just as I believe Boris is going to make an announcement today about the 2 metre rule. Pubs can't really survive with that rule. Let's see what he says. As you can see, the pub is currently acting as a pop-up shop. Up this narrow road up towards the church, got this overhanging thatch here, which is typical of this area. I'm on the very extremes of the Eastern Herts border with Essex. A couple of hundred, I think we might actually go into Essex, I'm not sure, over towards Stocking Pelham. Nice house anyway, been extended to the rear without detriment to the front. Passing Tinker's Hall Farm on my left. You'll probably get done today for politically incorrectness with that name. What a world we're living in, eh? Nice village sign. Passing St Mary the Virgin, Furneux Pelham, and I do like their clock. Very unique that. Time flies, mind your business. Nice and direct. This church is still closed, which I believe is outdated now. I believe you can congregate in churches. And from the rear, usual flint, typical stone used round this way. Nice little graveyard as well. Plenty of seating, but unfortunately I'm not having lunch here, only just started, albeit early lunchtime. Very nice church that. Now our onward journey is turn right immediately down the lane behind the church, following a footpath to Great Hormead Park, and funny enough it's footpath number 1. So you come out into open countryside and don't take the footpath veering left, but continue straight ahead here. We're ultimately going to pass Merlin Wood, I believe it's called. So it will be the footpath through this kissing gate and over the small brook. Now straight away I notice that this grassy path has been maintained, but in a way that allows easy access and clearance for walkers, but hasn't decimated the verges, which is the way it should be. And yet this is still Herts County Council. Since my last walk I have written to my local parish council to find out why our verges have been decimated. No response yet. Nice allotments here on my left. I've already noticed the hawthorns turning colour, and now the horse chestnuts are starting to appear. 22nd of June. Notice the leaf miner though. It's bad news. And as you can see in the background there, many haws starting to turn. Now in terms of birds so far, I've heard a chaffinch, a whitethroat and a chiffchaff. So we're on 3 already. I'm a bit more optimistic about this walk because it's more rural over this way. There is said Merlin Wood with its interesting connotations. Merlin with Midsummer Day just having passed. Lovely flower meadow here, full of butterflies again and wildlife. Fantastic. Once again you can see the barley heads just starting to turn. Over my way I was looking at the wheat, and that is very close to being ready. Another week or so I reckon they'll be cutting that. Probably started in some areas already further south. Anyway, I've just heard a song thrush. That's 4. With the closure of Stanstead at the moment, which isn't that far distant, pleasantly quiet. Wouldn't be under normal circumstances. As with last week, very nice mixed native woodland, ash, beech, oak, amongst some of the ones that I do recognise. I don't know what this is, but it's fairly commonplace. I'm not going to add crow and pigeon, wood pigeon, to the list because they're just too common. Top of the pecking order, excuse the pun, and they don't really need to be counted. I'm on a very slow pace at the moment, half hour for the first mile. It's because the scenery is catching my attention. There's very few footpath posts on this walk so far, so the GPX, which I'm following in a clockwise direction, needs to be adhered to initially. There's the blot on the landscape, an electricity substation which we do pass. I think we walk through it actually, having when we get past Three Pelhams. Look at this barley. As I say, this is even closer to fruition. So we join a lane, and as you can see there are alpacas in the field up at the house known as White Barns ahead of us. And there they are. Very good guard dogs. Passed round the edge of the property known as White Barns on the map. Walking downhill past another lovely flower meadow here to a place on the map called Violet Springs. In fact, I'm just to the left of Violet's Spring, about to go under another transmission line. Take my hat off to this farmer. Lovely field edge boundaries, lots of wildflower meadows. Yet I've still only seen one swallow, so add that to the list. That's 5, and I did see a buzzard, 6. Hear the warning note amongst his song. There you go. The old chiff chaff. Now this walk's very nice because there's A, few people, B, little traffic, because we're not near any major road other than the A10 really, and up here I think it's still single carriageway, and all I can hear, in fact I can hear a jet up above me, but generally speaking it's just me and nature, which is how I like it. Transmission lines are a bit annoying, but you know, we're near a substation. Can't have it all, I suppose. Don't take that track over the bridge on the right. Continue straight ahead. I'm not doing many of these directional corrections because most people will use a GPX these days anyway. I'm finding. Whitethroat in the bush. So that's number 7. Got this brook on my right. Look how dry it is. Not a stitch of water in there. A couple of months ago there would have been. Got a field full of thistles here. Yeah, I haven't heard or seen a goldfinch yet. The old whitethroat again. And that's a blackcap. So that makes number 8, I believe. That blackcap. And as you can hear, the blackcap and whitethroat often intermingle, it seems. Three Pelham Church coming into view, and just as I said that, just heard a goldfinch. So number 9. This is really wild walking here. No clear path at all. Brilliant. There's a dunnock behind me, number 10. Didn't hear that at all last week. In fact, I made a slight error there. Where I said don't turn right at the bridge, do turn right and follow the path up the hill. Otherwise you'll end up walking round the wrong way as I've done, but I have remedied it. Onward journey ahead towards the church is clear. Three Pelham marks the high point of the walk, around 420 feet. I've just seen a house martin, so that's number 9, I believe. Another St Mary the Virgin here at Three Pelham. Got the old war memorial here. opposite the church. And as it happens, you have to come up the hill towards the church anyway to continue on Bridleway 21, which probably doesn't bode well in winter. Soon find out. I do know something, it's very busy here. There's evidence there of how it could be in winter. There's mud and puddles where everywhere else I've been today is absolutely bone dry and cracking up. So take note of that. I've just passed the stables as well, so likely to be churned up in the winter. Now with the temperature approaching its hottest today, low 20s, this is pleasant respite in here, this tree tunnel. Good to see now that local authorities or whoever's maintaining this bridleway are learning to put the logs and the tree falls on the side and letting them rot rather than taking them away. Excellent. That's what would happen naturally anyway if it was just left to nature. There's the old class and its blade, probably being maintained as I speak, ready to come out shortly and do its function, its annual function. A lot of money, them things. £250,000 and more. Hence they tend to be communal, I think, shared around the farmsteads. Doesn't make sense for every farmer to have one, they can't afford it. Yeah, that's a military jet up there. Something's had that rabbit there. Don't know if it's a bird, most likely, or what, but its entrails are all over the path. My slow pace today is because I'm having to monitor the GPX quite closely. Very little signage up here, but hey ho. It's a cracking day. Now walking past some rape, ready to be brought in at some future point by that class combine, another one of its functions. Just seen a little gang of swifts, that makes 10. The onward journey there is through that gap in the hedge. Now that's something I didn't expect to make number 10. An Egyptian goose, I believe. Pair of them here. The other one's down on the ground somewhere. Anyway, most unusual, if it is what I think it is. So we come out onto this B road and I can see the turning off ahead of me there. A little bit of dodgy road walking here. Okay, that's Gray's Cottages over there on the map. And the original path that was marked on the GPX looks like it's been extinguished, so you have to go round the field edge as opposed to across it, which would have been more direct, but it's only a couple of minutes longer. And you've reached the same point where I'm stood now, where you should be, and it probably saves walking traipsing across muddy fields in the winter. Don't know. There's this week's yellowhammer. Not so omnipresent in this area. Not so chalky. So they're only getting their cheese here. Lovely. I'm at maximum focus here, so that's as good a shot as I can get. Walking past some horses down another pleasant field edge. Butterflies galore, they really are. Meadow browns, or whatever you call them, marble whites. Seen loads of different types. This section through this jumps, or whatever you want to call it, is a bit dubious. I got stuck by those electric fences and then couldn't find the exit onto this little lane behind me. So I'm assuming I'm on the right path. I'll find out in a second. So I think I'm back on track. Looks like another pub's under threat. No doubt the local at Furneux Pelham. Soon find out. At the end of footpath 7 down there, you'll encounter some vicious dogs barking. They're well protected behind gates, etc., but annoying. Thereafter, it's actually difficult to find the path for Crabs Green, which is neither 9 nor 7. It's not evident, underfoot. So, per chance, I happen to have found it, I believe, and I'm now on my way to the substation. This must be the green, that lovely thatch over there. Little oasis. Passing Pelham Nature Reserve, as I can hear the hum of the substation next door. Bit ironic, isn't it? Got all that electricity next door to a nature reserve for the use of local children. So there she blows. And that's the view we saw earlier, but I'm right underneath it now. Amazingly tranquil though. You know, once you take the jets out of the sky, and in this area, the traffic, I can hear someone cutting timber miles away. You might better pick it up. The Essex border, incidentally, runs right through the middle of that substation, so I'm not sure who lays jurisdiction over it. But that's as near to the Essex border that we get today, about 100 yards. Now there's a nice bit of machinery. GPS, all the mod cons up in the cab. It's a combine, I do believe. Brand new one, ready for the new season. Now taking this footpath to Hixham Hall, and the combine that I just saw in that yard was in fact a demonstrator speaking to the farmer's wife, I think she must have been. And it's not a community one, but as I say, a demonstrator. Really have come on massively since I was last on one about 50 years back. This section appears to be another pleasant tree tunnel. It's getting quite late, 3:15, and I haven't had my pit stop yet. Haven't found an appropriate point, but need some nourishment, that's for sure. Looks like peas in here. Another thatch over there in the distance. Cracking day, really has been. Just enough of a pleasant breeze to keep you cool, and then the odd tree tunnel. Bit more signage over this way now, which is good. It's quite wooded in East Herts, as you can see in the distance. Very agricultural, so no cattle to contend with yet. Arable being the main base here. The old weighbridge here, which I notice has got a video camera at the end of it. Shame I can't make use of that dining table there. Famished now. So what I passed just now with its dining table area was Hixham Hall, and these must be an extension of the grounds here. Very nice as well. And I did see a magpie, so I guess that counts. No, doesn't count. So we're still on 10. That's a black cap, so I've already added him. What a lovely butterfly that is. Orange, I wonder if that's a burnet or whatever you call it. Don't know to be sure, but that was lovely. Grabbing some UV to recharge his energy cells, and he's come back. Incredible. Oh, now I can't get it. Terrible. Wonderful aroma coming off of these roses. Don't think they're wild, they might be, but wonderful smell. Possibly remnants of the old garden. Right, this is interesting. Come out into this big clearing, which is the start of Patmore Heath on the map, which in time becomes a nature reserve. Good. Ideal sanctuary for grass snakes here, which I haven't seen in years. Patmore Hall Wood here on my left, and I'm following the GPX closely here. This is not the official path, that's over there just slightly on the right, but it meets up in the same corner there ahead of us. So we've just crossed over this footbridge here, Patmore Hall Wood, and down below, bone dry riverbed. Terrible, isn't it? Herts have drained all their waters dry, as I said in the past, because of the population. Too many people in this county. So as you can see, I'm just joining the Harcamlow Way here, which I've walked in parts of Essex previously. That's this track here. Not sure where my onward journey is just yet, but I am tempted to utilise that bit of footbridge as a quick respite. 3:45, and I need something to eat. That little bit of wall is too low, so it's onwards and upwards towards Patmore Heath Nature Reserve. So there's Patmore Heath, and I can see a seat right over the other side. But unfortunately my journey's left here. It's been the way of the day so far. There's also one in that garden that looks appetising. Or appealing even. Getting my words mixed up through hunger. Sign of the times. Like I keep saying, let's do something for the countryside, eh? It's been keeping the majority sane and healthy. So leaving Patmore Heath behind us. Very pleasant that it is, but there should be a lot more of it. It's all well and good having these little pockets, but that's why we're losing our wildlife. So I'm going to have to resort to using this log as a quick pit stop, because it's getting on 4:15. So 4:30, pit stop's been had, literally. I feel better for that though. I'm way behind schedule, still got about 4 miles to do, and it's 4:30. Don't know what's happened to my timing today, but I got waylaid a couple of times, so I need to press on. Still following the Harcamlow Way here. Decent view out ahead of us, but we turn right here, still following the Harcamlow Way. Down there. Following a very pleasant track down towards Albury. There's an isolated church over there, the spire of which you can just make out. Don't take the path up towards that. Continue on the Harcamlow Way for some time yet. Over towards this wood. I guess it just goes to show how powerful the pesticide is that they're putting on this wheat. Because this whole verge, as you can see, has been decimated. Everything killed off in it. And that's going on the wheat. Interesting. Views back whence I've come. Just leaving another section of woodland walking, still on the Harcamlow. Lovely mixed woodland as well, lovely aroma. Before meeting agricultural cereals again. The woodland on my right is interestingly called Suez. And I'm following this old country lane next to it. The only reason that name's interesting is because there's another woodland on the map nearby here called Munich. And I'm just wondering if there's any linkage in terms of wartime history, I don't know. Now at this juncture you could take this footpath, looking at the GPX, and cut about half a mile off the walk. Very tempting through that nice tunnel. However, officially it goes ahead following this track, so that's what I'll do. Eventually passing Albury Hall. We've now joined the Hertfordshire Way, having left the Harcamlow. Just passing the property at 112 metres, known as Kitchers on the map, but in fact on the entrance gate it says Charleston House now. Anyway, still on the Hertfordshire Way here, very pleasant indeed. I think that's Furneux ahead of me there, certainly about 2.5 miles or so I think. So here I am, exactly 11 mile in apparently. 4.5 hours later, skylarks are starting to sing. So that's species 11. Can't recall if I've added to the list since. But the beauty of this walk thus far is its detachment from mankind. I haven't seen a soul other than in farmsteads or hamlets. No other walkers, which is lovely. Quite amazing as well on a day like today in the current circumstances. But I'm not complaining. Wonderful. There's the old substation again in the distance. This field could definitely be a trudger in winter, I'm sure. Obviously not now, but conditions are so different. Skylarks everywhere, wonderful. Passing by the appropriately named patient end. Now you could either take it as patient in the sense of what we're being, very patient with all this regulation upon us, or patient in the sense of someone in hospital. Either way's appropriately named. Onward journey straight ahead between these hedges. Got no idea what that is ahead of me, but it is in the field. I hope it's not a goat. It's on its own anyway. There's my path, quite close to it. It is actually an old pig. Amazing. All on his own. So here we are. 12.5 miles I made that. The GPS was telling me it was 11.25, but it's taken me 5 hours and a quarter to complete, so I guess it must be 12.5 miles. Anyway, that's what I recorded. A very decent walk again from North Herts Ramblers group. A lovely walk of field margins, greenways, tree tunnels, and yeah, and lovely weather. I got lost with the amount of birds I saw today, but it was certainly fewer than last week. Although certainly the number of birds I actually heard or saw was fewer than last week. I can't believe that this area, being so pastoral as it is, contains less than where I was last week. Impossible. Anyway, that could be troublesome in the winter months, clearly, because of the fields that you cross. But on a nice summer's day, which is probably when you do it anyway because of the distance, any time between March, when we turn the clocks forward, and October, when we turn them back, you could do that walk. Lovely. So thanks again to the whoever made it up, whoever composed that walk. Excellent. Till the next time.